Hello everyone, welcome to Practice Maths. In the previous video, we have started with chapter 1 of intermediate first year economics. So in that video, we have discussed about various definitions of economics. So we have discussed about various categories and different kinds of definitions we have like wealth definition, welfare definition, scarcity definition, etc. So if you have not watched that video, please go to our channel and watch that particular video and do subscribe to our channel for more updates, and please do watch all the videos in a sequence so that you'll get to know all the details of various chapters that we are going to discuss and you'll not miss the flow of the topics. So here in this video, we're going to start with the part 2 of chapter 1, which is nature and scope of economics. So let's get started. So here is our chapter 1 part 2, nature and scope of economics. Under this, what are the fundamental problems of an economy? So as an economy, for any kind of economy, it definitely has some kinds of problems. So, what are the various kinds of problems that a particular economy may face? First thing is choice of goods and quantum of goods. So, in the previous video, we have discussed in detail about the goods and services, why are they needed, and about the limited resources that we have in any economy. So these phrases are definitely very important from examination point of view. Do remember this. We have limited resources, and how are our wants? These are unlimited. So to fulfill these unlimited wants or desires, we have to use these limited resources. And we will be producing various kinds of goods and services to satisfy our human wants. So, what would be the choice of these goods and what would be the quantum, that is, how much quantity of goods are to be produced? So, this has to be decided. This is one of the fundamental problems that we have in any economy. That means, as we know, goods are of various different types. We have different types of goods, right? So, under this, we can say that we can categorize them as first one is necessary goods. So, for example, food. Food is very much necessary for the survival of any human beings. So, this will be a necessary thing. And then we have comfortable goods. So, under comfortable goods, these are not definitely necessary for survival, but if you have these goods, your life will be a bit comfortable. And then coming to luxury goods. So luxury goods are those goods wherein this is definitely not needed for a necessary living. That means without luxury goods also you can definitely lead your life. This will make your life more luxurious. So this is an additional thing that you have in your life so that your life will be more luxurious. Right, so this is one difference that we have between necessary goods, comfortable goods, and luxury goods. Right. So in that way, we have different types of goods. And as we know, resources are limited. So whatever resources that we have, using those limited resources, we have to produce various goods. So what type of goods have to be produced? So this would be a problem. So if we have different types of goods, which type of goods are to be produced? This would be a problem. So once we decide which type of goods are to be produced, then the problem that arises, that means choice of goods done with this. So we have different types of goods. Okay, we have decided that we'll produce this kind of goods. Then second problem within this is the quantity. How much should we produce? So for example, we have electricals, so we have bikes, we have cars. So we have different types of goods over here. So we thought that okay, we'll produce some bikes. So choice is made. Then quantity, how many bikes are to be manufactured? So this is one second problem that we have within this, that is the quantum of goods or the quantity of goods that are to be produced. So how can you decide this? Because here there is one more problem regarding the demand and supply. This should be definitely taken note of, because if we produce more than the demand, what will happen? For example, there is a demand for 5 bikes, but we are supplying 10 bikes. What will happen? This will lead to a decrease in the price, right? So society economy needs only 5 bikes, but we are supplying 10 bikes, so the price will be decreasing. What if we have the reverse situation? If there is a demand for 10 bikes and we are supplying only 5 bikes, definitely the price will increase. So this is one simple logic that you have to remember. So this will lead to an increase in the price. So here what you have to understand is, if we want to produce some quantity of goods, so to in order to decide that amount of production, both demand and supply aspects, both of these have to be taken into account. So you have to consider half is the demand in the economy and how much should be supplied to the economy. This should be decided, and then you have to understand how much we have to produce, so that it will be having a balance between these two. So the problem of types of goods and their quantities, so this has to be decided based on the preference that we have in our economy. So how is the preference of the society, how are the people thinking, what is their demand, so how much we have to supply, based on this we have to produce various goods. Done. So this is our first fundamental problem. Moving forward to the second problem, choice of techniques. So there are different methods to produce goods. So here in our example, we are producing various bikes. So we can produce bikes by using different kinds of methods. So all the bikes that we see on roads are not made or not manufactured using the same method, right? So different types of methods or different types of techniques are used to manufacture different kinds of bikes, right? So we have, for example, labor intensive techniques, and we have intensive techniques. So in this way, we have different kinds of techniques that are used to produce various goods. So in a labor surplus economy, capital intensive techniques cannot be applied. For example, there is a country A. In this country, there is lot of labor supply that is present. Lot of people are present who are willing to work, who are willing to be having a supply of labor. So here you have to use labor intensive techniques. You cannot go for capital intensive techniques, right? So vice versa applies to capital surplus countries. So on the basis of availability of resources, so what are the resources that are available in an economy, be it in terms of natural resources or in terms of human resources, what is the availability on in that particular country? This has to be first evaluated, and then we have to decide regarding the choice of the technique, like which technique has to be used. So this is one thing, how we can select the production method. Then this is our second problem, that is a choice of techniques. So coming to our third problem, distribution of goods. So in any country, welfare of the people is of utmost importance, right? So whether they can be rich or poor, welfare is the ultimate aim. Right. So while producing goods, goods which are useful for the poor, these have to be first produced, not for the rich community. So first of all, hope you have understood about this concept of necessary goods, comfortable goods and luxury goods. So if we are concentrating completely on the luxury goods, that means we are targeting the rich people, because poor people cannot definitely afford this luxury goods. They will be concentrating upon this necessary goods which are needed for their survival. So what we have to do, we have to concentrate on the necessary goods. That is, we have to target the poor people first, because this is very much needed for their survival. For them to live, necessary goods are needed. But luxury goods, without luxury goods also we can definitely lead our lives comfortably, but this is definitely important for the rich people. So we have to concentrate on the poor people rather than the rich people. So while producing goods which are useful for the poor, they have to be produced first. So distribution aspects, these are also very important. So how far these goods have to be distributed is also equally important. And coming to our fourth problem, optimum utilization of resources. As we have already discussed in the previous video also, we have limited resources. That means we have a scarcity of resources. We need, for example, 10 resources, but we have only 5. That means we have a scarcity of the resources. This is a one major problem that we have. So efficient use of resources has to be done. So if we have only 5 resources, you should not again waste some of these resources. If you waste 2 out of these, what will happen? Only 3 resources will be left. So this should not be done. So whatever 5 resources which are already less than what we need, these 5 resources that we have, these have to be used efficiently. So efficient use of resources or the optimum utilization of resources is definitely needed, and even underutilization of scarce resources is also a problem. So we should not underutilize or we should not overutilize. That means more than needed should not be used, and also less than needed also should not be used. So it has to be properly allocated and optimum utilization of resources has to be done. So coming to the final problem, fundamental problem that we have in our economy, continuous change in the economy. So over a period of time, without any static or stationary situation is essential, continuous change in the economy. So this is definitely needed. So dynamism in the economy is required for development. So if there is a particular economy, for that economy to develop, what is needed? Change is needed. So dynamism is needed. So all these are the various fundamental problems. So in order to have this continuous change in the economy, so the solution to these problems lies in the pricing mechanism. So do remember, these are the various fundamental problems that we have in an economy. So hope you are clear with this concept. And moving forward, we are going to start with the scope of economics. So what would be the scope of economics? So we'll discuss this. So if you have any doubts on any topic or concept that we are discussing over here, please do feel free to mention in the comment section whatever doubts you have. We'll definitely try to resolve your doubts. And coming back to our scope of economics, economics is a very vast subject. So we have to know the scope, subject matter, and the nature of the subject, right? And in the previous video itself, while discussing the definitions of economics, we have discussed how money plays a very important role in the economic activities. Right, so we have discussed about the entire circle for this economic activities. So hope you remember that discussion. So I'll quickly revise that particular small topic that we have discussed regarding this economic activities and the importance of money. So here, economic activities, why are these done? These are done to satisfy the human wants which are unlimited. So how can we satisfy this human wants? By this goods and services. By using various goods and services, our human wants will be satisfied. So how you will get this human goods and services to satisfy your human wants? You have to purchase them. How can you purchase them? You need money for that. So money is very important. It plays a very significant role in all the economic activities. So this is what we have discussed, right? So here we are going to discuss about the scope of economics. So scope of economics. So what does this scope mean? What do we cover under this word scope? So for any science, scope, if we are discussing the scope of any science, that explains what that particular science is concerned with. So in terms of economics, what is economics concerned with? This would be discussed under the scope of economics. So this is what is the nature and scope of economics that we are going to discuss. Under this we have various concepts, that is consumption, production, exchange, distribution, income, employment, planning, and economic development. So now we are going to discuss these 7 concepts so that you'll get to know about the nature and scope of economics. So let's have a look at consumption first. What does this consumption mean? What is consumption? It means extracting utility from the goods and services. So whatever goods and services are produced, which we have already discussed, so extracting the utility or use of those goods and services, that is consumption. So it is the act of using the final goods and services to satisfy our wants. So for example, you are manufacturing a particular good known as bread. This is the final good. So bread is our final good. Okay. So for this, what you will use? The raw materials would be flour, would be sugar, etc. So you will be using all these, and you will use some machinery for this, and you will manufacture the final output, that is bread. So what will you do with this final good? You will be satisfying your want. So what is your desire here? You are hungry. So your hunger would be, you will satisfy your hunger with this final good, which is bread. So in this way, satisfying your human wants using some goods or using some services, this is what is known as consumption. Okay, so hope you're clear with this. So consumption is the basis for production, exchange and distribution. So if people are consuming a particular goods and services, then what will the manufacturers do? They'll produce that particular good. So if there is lot of demand for bread, lot of people are consuming bread, then people will produce this. So the manufacturers will produce this bread more and more, and they'll distribute it to that particular region in which there is a demand. So if in one area there is a lot of demand, for example in Hyderabad there is lot of demand for bread, in Secunderabad there is a less demand, so the distribution would be mostly concentrated in the region of Hyderabad, because here we have lot of demand. So where there is a lot of demand, there supply would be there, and also the distribution to which particular region the demand is present, there the distribution would be done. Right. So consumption is the basis for production and distribution. So based on this, production would be done. So hope you're clear with this first one, that is consumption. So moving forward to the second one, production. What is production in economics? So it is the process of conversion of raw materials into final goods. So this would be done by adding a particular form, place and time utility to the raw materials. So here we have seen the example of bread, right? So the raw materials are flour and sugar as per our example. So if we are using flour and sugar to produce this bread, so these are known as raw materials. So the flour and bread, these are raw materials. So we are converting this raw materials into the final good, which is bread. So this process is known as production. So production is any activity that is directed to the satisfaction of other people's wants through exchange. So for this particular production, there are some factors of production. So these factors, they participate in the production. So to produce something, we need some factors. So these are known as our factors of production. What are the factors of production that we have? We have land, we have labor, we have capital, and then we have organization. So these are the four factors of production. Do remember these four factors of production. So these are the factors which participate in the production process. So this is about production. Coming to exchange. So what does exchange refer about? It is about the exchange of a good for money, right? So if we are producing this, we are considering single example so that you do not get confused. So since we have taken the example of bread, let's continue with this example. So a producer has produced this bread and I want to buy it. So how would I do that? I'll exchange my money for bread. I'll give money and I'll buy the bread. So this is how a good is exchanged for money. So you're giving your money and you're taking this particular good. That means here you are purchasing. So this is what is a exchange for of a good. So before money also, we used to have an exchange. So that is what is our barter system, right? So I will give you one particular product and you will give another product. We'll exchange both of these. So this is what is our barter system. So I'll give you bread, you give me milk. So in that way there used to be a exchange of various products, which is known as our barter system. And after evolution of money, we have started giving a value for these products, and using money we are going to exchange various goods. And then coming to our next concept, that is distribution. So distribution is also equally important. So this is how goods and services are distributed amongst various factors of production. So we have already seen the various factors of production, that is land, labor, capital and organization. So half goods and services are distributed among these factors of production. This comes under our concept distribution. So it explains how goods and services are distributed among these factors of production, and this would be responsible for production. So each factor of production, it gets its rewards, right? And coming to income. So income is something the individuals are earning by participating in the economic activities. So previously we have seen about the economic activities. So by participating in economic activities, you'll get some money. So if you are working, right? So if you are doing some job, then in return for that, if you are doing giving your human resource, in return to that, you will get some income, right? So this is what is earned by participating in the economic activities. So the activities are related to production of material goods or services, right? So various concepts of like national income, so how is national income measured, so this will be also discussed by us later. So for now remember this. And coming to employment, so here this includes study of volume of employment. So under the scope of economics, economics will consider the employment situation. So half is the volume of employment in the economy. So what are the causes of unemployment? So we definitely have a problem of unemployment in our country. So what are the causes for this? Why do we have unemployment? And then we'll also discuss about the remedial measures. So the steps that we can take for removing this or reducing this unemployment problem in our country. So the level of employment in an economy, this depends upon demand for consumption goods and demand for investment goods. And here one more important phrase that you have to remember is full employment. So what does full employment mean? It means employment of all those who are able and willing to work at the prevailing wage rates. So whatever wage rates are present at that particular time, at those rates, if some people are able, that means they are able to work and also they are willing to work. We have different types of unemployments also. We'll also discuss that in the upcoming videos. So under that, one type in would be such that people have the power or the ability to work, but they're not willing to work. That is also one kind of unemployment. But here, under full employment, people are able to work and also they're willing to work. They are feeling that okay, I want to work. So if there is such a willing of the people, then it means a condition of full employment. So coming to our final concept here, planning and economic development. So economic planning, this is very much important for a proper and efficient use of whatever resources that we have, right? So you have some resources. So for example, you are preparing for an exam. You have various books with you, you have textbooks, you have lot of material, study material with you. If you do not use it properly, can you crack that exam? No, right? So proper utilization of these resources have to be made. So you have to use it properly and you have to use it efficiently. Only when you use it efficiently, it would give you a result, right? Only if you keep all these resources with you, if you have lot of books with you, will you pass an exam? No. Only when you use those resources, that too properly and efficiently, only then you can definitely have a result from that. So for this, what is needed? Planning is needed. You have to have a plan for that. So how should I use these resources? So first of all, you have to know like what are the resources I have. So how should I use it so that it will be fruitful for me? So in this way, you have to make a planning. So planning is definitely needed. So by economic planning, it means that achieving some various predetermined targets. So predetermined, that is before itself some targets are determined. So we'll try to achieve those targets, that too systematically in a specific period of time. For example, in 5 years we have to achieve this. You will be determining now itself, that is you are predetermining it, and you will work towards achieving this particular goal. So this is how planning works. So this is what is our economic planning. So by this, an optimum allocation of scarce resources would be done among various sectors so that we can achieve a speedy development of the economy and also we can improve the welfare of the people. So this is what is the scope of economics. All these topics would be covered by economics. So economics is concerned with all these concepts. This is what is our nature and scope of economics. So hope you have liked this video. So those of you who have not watched part 1, please do watch part 1 also. Under that we have discussed about the various definitions of economics, and also we are starting with economics of intermediate second year also. So those of you who need that, do watch that also and do share with your friends who are in need of economics classes. So we'll definitely have 100% coverage of syllabus of economics for intermediate first year and second year. We'll have some model question and answers, and also we'll discuss some previous year questions so that economics will be made easy for you. So that's all for this video. Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel Practice Maths. Thank you so much for watching this video. Bye bye.